Okay, so once you're set up for paint, you are going to start painting 3 of your rectangles with the primary colors first. So I'm going to start with yellow because it's the weakest, and I'm going to first go around all the edges with my flat red brush. Once I've done the edges, I'm going to fill in the center and spread out my paint nice and thin. I don't want too much. Get rid of my brush strokes. Then I need to wash my brush before I dip it into my red. So I'm going to rinse it really good on the bottom of the cup in my water, looking to see if most of the paint is off. Then push it down on my sponge to get off all the moisture and test it on my paper towel. Next I'm going to move to red because red is the second of the weaker colors. It's an average color. And same thing, around the edges. Don't worry if you get a little on the table, you can always wash it. And fill in the middle. I like to keep my brush strokes going in the same direction. Same thing, I need to wash my brush. Really, really good. Test it on the sponge, and test it on the paper towel. And last but not least, I want to do my blue. I'm holding my paper down because it's starting to curl a little. And around the edges. And filling in the center. And getting rid of a lot of my brush strokes. Wash my brush on my sponge. Test it on my paper towel. Oh, I see a little blue. Do it again. All good. Now, it's time to start mixing colors. I'm going to mix on my palette. I'm going to start with orange because it's the weakest of the secondary colors because I'm making it with the 2 weaker primaries. So I'm going to start with yellow because I know it's the weaker one, and I'm going to put a bunch of yellow on my palette. Then I'm going to wash my brush. Now I know that red and yellow make orange, but I know I need to use less red than I did of the yellow. So I'm only going to put a little on my brush. And I'm going to mix it up. And if I like my orange, I'll paint. If I don't, I might need to add a little bit more yellow or a little bit more red. I love my orange. So again, around the edges. And you and your partner can make one orange and share it. If you'd like, just make sure you make enough that it's going to be enough for both of you. Okay, wash my brush. Test. Oh, another wash. And sometimes my water just gets too dirty and I have to go get fresh, but I think I should be okay. Now, I can use my sponge to kind of wipe my orange away. It's on the bottom of the sponge now. I have a clean area. Next, I'm going to do green. Green is made with yellow and blue. Again, I'm going to start with my weaker color and put like 2 little scoops of yellow. Wash my brush. Now, blue. Super strong, so I don't need a lot of blue, and I'm going to mix that right in with my yellow to get my green. Again, paint in one of my rectangles along the edges. and down the middle. Smooth it out. Then I'm going to wash my brush. I'm actually going to turn my paper around, make my life easier. Wipe away my green. And move on to my last color, violet. So for this one, I need to start with red because it's the weaker. And wash my brush. And add the blue. Now, if I like that purple, I keep it. If I want it to be a little bit more of a violet, I could add a little bit more blue to it. If I think it's too blue, I add a little bit more red. I'm really happy with that. And again, around my edges. This part needs to dry, so don't move on to blending colors and stuff today. Let this dry. If you and your partner are both finished, you can start cleaning up, which we'll talk about cleanup procedures. And this can just go in the drying rack. And then the following class, you'll begin exploring with the tertiary colors and tones and tints and shades like we had talked about. And you'll be able to explore all the tones and tints and shades that we had talked about and make all the colors that you were hoping for in your circles. Thanks.